Hey everybody, welcome to Sell Me Movie, a subcategory here on the Cavalier Studios YouTube channel, where what I do as a movie enthusiast is tell you guys my personal opinions on either films that are currently out on streamings for your viewing pleasure, films that are out in theaters, or films that have yet to touch theaters that will be coming out eventually. So an early, kind of like a review, really. Now, if you know anything about this channel and have seen some of the videos here, you'll know that I've shared my personal experiences regarding living in haunted homes growing up, which you can watch one of the videos here where I go into detail on what actually happened. You'll also know that I've visited both the original Conjuring house and the Villa house. The Haunting in Connecticut home, also part of the Ed and Lorraine cases as well. With the fourth and final installment in the Conjuring franchise, I must admit to you that I'm a bit of an Ed and Lorraine Warren fan. Don't get me wrong, I understand that many people are skeptical about them and how they did their practice, and even calling them charlatans. However, one thing you cannot deny is that, in a weird way, it brought more people who knew or worked with them to Christ, but also the pioneers or original pioneers who truly made paranormal hunting a thing. So when I found out that they were doing a fourth film, I couldn't hold my excitement. Obviously, I will add that knowing the true story behind some of them, though, as far as the Conjuring homes specifically, it's clear that Hollywood really took based on the true story to their advantage. Especially, like I said, with the first film, since 98% of what was in the movie didn't really happen. I encourage all of you looking up what really did happen in that home, because I'm going to tell you guys right here that Hollywood, again, took advantage of it, and it's not what truly happened. I saw the new film of the Conjuring series called Conjuring the Last Rites, and that is where I come in and let you guys know my personal opinions.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
This film was directed by Michael Chasis, who also directed the other Conjuring universe films like The Curse of La Llorona, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and The Nun 2. It was written by three individuals such as Ian Goldberg and Richard Ning, who did The Nun 2, but the heavier writer between the three would be David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who has written the third Conjuring film, Orphan, and Aquaman. Obviously, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are back as Ed and Lorraine Warren, but Mia Tomlinson has taken up the mantle as Judy Warren, who was previously played by Sterling Jerens, who in the previous three films, obviously, was much younger. I believe the reason for this change, though, was because this film takes place in 1986, and Judy is either in the late college years or just graduated, where the actress who played her in the original films doesn't really look the part. She looks much, much younger than what she needs to be for this fourth installment. I was, though, a little skeptical going into this film, only because between the second and the third installments, they became okay, but then changed to, I guess they're okay. This film started off strong and gave me many vibes that the first Conjuring film provided. A slow burn that led to some jump scares, but played with your emotions and your mind at the same time. That, of course, brings up the pacing of the film, which I enjoyed a lot, only because it started strong and continued to keep you engaged in the film until, for me, about 80% of the way, then that rest was not so much there anymore. Which, of course, I'll get into that in a little bit. It provided a good backstory of when Ed and Lorraine first had Judy and their first encounter. Also, it explored not just Ed and Lorraine's relationship growth, but their daughters too, as Tony Spera has entered the picture playing Ben Hardy, whom in fact is Judy's boyfriend, eventually husband. Father Gordon, played by Steve Coulter, is back for this film, although Father Gordon, I'll remind you guys that is an actual fictional character made up for the franchise. He's not an actual true individual. We're introduced to him in the first film, of course. I believe over the phone. I don't remember. I think we do see him in the first film, if not anything, the second or third. We see him throughout the series. Overall, though, the creepiness of this movie is pitch perfect for the majority of the time. The cinematography really made you feel like you were transported back in the 80s, and where the paranormal events take place in Pennsylvania, the film delivers as though it passes on how that area itself actually looked. Downside is not the fact that, unlike the first one, you really see the demonic many times in this film. So again, the first film, you don't really see it until like spur of the moments or close to the end. This one, you see the demonic characters, I don't want to say throughout, but a good chunk of the time. And it's honestly disappointing, as it was it again, the first one you kind of played with your mind, and then when you saw it, kind of jumped at you. But this one, it just showed you a little bit more. The other disappointing key factor is that they pulled a copy and paste from the second film. In the second Conjuring, I really didn't like the CGI crooked man, as for me, it just took me out of the spookiness of it due to the CGI. This series, you're going in for more practical elements, in my opinion, rather than having computer generated images or computer generated characters, really. This film does the same thing. There is a sequence where Judy enters the room and Annabelle is sitting in the corner, and I kid you not, she does the same exact thing as a crooked man. The doll grows to being taller than the ceiling, bending down, chasing Judy out of the room, and eventually having her fall down the stairs. Something that completely took me out of the film, because these films, again, are scarier more when your mind works or practical elements are provided. Then the whole premise is that the mirror in the film is the very beginning of Ed and Lorraine's first encounter as the antagonist throughout the movie, which, again, something else that actually does happen is that at close to the end or at the very end of the film, there are you see the three spirits, and they turn into a demonic Ed and Lorraine, Judy, and lookalikes, basically, who has like these sharp teeth and very demonic looking individuals. And something else that obviously took me out of the film, it was very campiness of what Hollywood likes to provide, thinking that it's scary in these films, but they aren't. The first one was so good, though. The first Conjuring film, that was so much iconic because you didn't see a lot other than what your mind played against you. That's why the original Exorcist was iconic. That's why the Poltergeist original one was iconic. It either looked real or there was some sense of real practicality to them. The film, the last 20%, that suffers from the negative, but I will still rank them as the first Conjuring film as number 1, 4 is number 2, 2 is 3, and of course 3 is 4. As a full circle moment, though, within these series, it truly ends this franchise great. They brought characters back as they had characters from the previous 3 films. In this one, like the character Brad and Drew from the first film, then of course the mom and I think 1 or 2 of the daughters from the second film. So it brings characters back for a full-on circle arc. And not only that, but it tells you how Ed passes at the end. It tells how Lorraine passes. So again, it's a full closure to the series. Even though I had negative things about it to say, I did enjoy this film a lot. I would recommend it seeing in theaters. Obviously, with the spooky season coming up with Halloween, it's something that you should go out and see in theaters because it provides you that eeriness, that creepiness to it. So if you guys like my thoughts on it, if you guys like this channel, if you like this review, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Follow us on all social platforms, and I'll see you guys next time for the next review.